Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of Counterspy starring Don-Maclaughlin from 73 years ago, August 9th, 1949. The case of the Blackmailed Hijacker. And we thank you for joining us on this Tuesday, 9th day of August, 221st day of the year, 144 days remaining until we get to 2023. Henry David Thoreau's Walden, recounting his experiences in solitary life on the shores of Massachusetts' Walden Pond, published on this date in 1854. Betty Boop premiering in her first cartoon, Dizzy Dishes, on this date in 1930. Jesse Owens became the first American to win 4 gold medals in one Olympics on this date in 1936, something which did not make Adolf Hitler very happy. The U.S. Forest Service and the Wartime Advertising Council released posters featuring Smokey Bear for the first time on this date in 1944.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
And just to remind you, the name is Smokey Bear, not Smokey the Bear. The U.S. exploded a nuclear bomb over Nagasaki, Japan on this date in 1945, killing an estimated 74,000 people. Singapore proclaiming its independence from Malaysia on this date in 1965. And it was on this date in 1974, Vice President Gerald Ford, a man appointed to that position, was sworn in as president following President Nixon's resignation.
My fellow Americans, our long national nightmare is over. Our Constitution works. Our great republic is a government of laws and not of men.
Thus, Gerald Ford becoming the first person elevated to the presidency without being elected vice president first.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone. We begin tonight with
Peter Jennings hosting his first broadcast of ABC's World News Tonight as a solo anchor on this date in 1983. The Canadian would become a naturalized American citizen in 2003 and would anchor the news until shortly before his death of throat cancer, August 7, 2005. Jennings was 67. President George W. Bush told the nation on this date in 2003 things were going well in Iraq.
Freedom is taking hold in that country as people gain confidence that the former regime is never coming back.
Despite those optimistic tones, Iraq's still a very dangerous place, especially for women. And in 2014, Michael Brown, an 18-year-old African-American male in Ferguson, Missouri, shot and killed by a Ferguson police officer after reportedly assaulting the officer and attempting to steal his weapon. That sparked protests and unrest in the city. Passing away on this date in history, Gregory Hines, fine actor and dancer, also comedian, actor, screenwriter, producer Bernie Mac, and football player, sportscaster Frank Gifford. This is the birth date of boxer Ken Norton and singer-actress Whitney Houston. Sam Elliott turns 78 today. Melanie Griffith, 65. Designer Michael Kors is 63. From NBC's morning show Today and Dateline NBC, Hoda Kotb is 58. From The X-Files, Gillian Anderson is 54. From Grey's Anatomy and The Practice, Jessica Capshaw is 46. From Amelia, Audrey Taunton is 46. WWE and NXT wrestler Alexa Bliss is 31. And Anna Kendrick is 37. Those some of the people who celebrate the 25th day of August as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you.
And we head back 73 years to August 9th, 1949. Don-McLaughlin, Mandel-Kramer in the Phillips H. Lord's production Counterspy in the case of the Blackmailed Hijacker. Thank you so much for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with me, Wyatt Cox, on this Tuesday on your favorite station. Well, previously on Classic Radio Theater, we've talked about how J. Edgar Hoover had problems with Phillips H. Lord's early production, G-Man, or G-Man, I should say. The show was produced by Phillips H. Lord's. It ran back in the spring of 1935. And Phillips H. Lord is producing the show in close association with J. Edgar Hoover. However, Hoover insisted only closed cases be used and demanded that he or a top-level aide review and approve every script. He preferred that scripts downplay gunfights and car chases and spend more time on systematic investigation and legwork. Phillips H. Lord's wanted a shoot-'em-up show. So, what he did is he ended up shutting down G-Man and created a brand new show, Gangbusters. That show debuted in January of 1936 and was even more raucous than G-Man, not just relying on FBI, but also used many state and local governmental agencies for material for the show. The show would run for 21 years from January of 1936 through the end of November 1957. Just in time for World War II, Phillips H. Lord's created another show, Counterspy, initially a war-fighting espionage program that would involve threats from the Axis powers, Cold War threats in the middle portion, and the very end of the show, they addressed all manners of illegal activities. But never, the Counterspies were fictionalized FBI, if you will, and totally fictional. Ran on the Blue Network, ABC, NBC, and Mutual. Now from August 9th, 1949, Counterspy on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy. Calling Washington.
United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad.
Tonight, the case of the Blackmailed Hijacker, a counterspy report to the American people. And now, to Counterspy. Shortly after midnight, last February 3rd, a heavy truck carrying 10 tons of high explosives to a government arsenal was rolling along a foggy, mountainous stretch of Highway 9W in eastern Pennsylvania. The driver, Larry Mason, held the wheel tightly.
Hey, Vince.
Yeah?
Vince, can you see anything?
The fog's getting thicker by the minute, Larry. For the love of Mike, Larry, if you got a whistle, at least change that tune.
You know, we should have stopped before we hit this road, Vince. With that 10 tons of nitro we got in the back, one slip and my wife cashes in my insurance.
Hey, Larry, up ahead.
Yeah, looks like a car skidded right across the road.
Slow it down.
And how? Well, I don't see the driver. Do you, Vince?
No.
Well, we better get out and take a look. Maybe we can help the guy.
Yeah.
I'll get out on your side, too.
Okay, you two. Hold everything.
Guy with a gun.
Hey, what is this?
Get away from that truck. This is a hijack, sweetheart.
And this is a trick I learned in the Army.
Oh, you kick me, will ya? Vince, look out!
Urgent to all Counterspy field offices, District 3. Mr. Harding now in Pittsburgh field office to take charge of following case. Truck hijacking last night, Highway 9W, Eastern Pennsylvania. Relief driver Vince Dugan killed. Killer tentatively identified as one Sid Barlow. See Counterspy file. Identification made by surviving driver of truck Larry Mason.
Lock the door for you, Carol?
Oh, no, Larry. I'm only going to the supermarket. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I've got to buy a lot of groceries, darling. Got time to help me carry them back?
Well, kiddo, I'm due downtown at the Counterspy field office to see David Harding.
I wish you'd let me go with you.
No, I don't want you to have anything to do with
Larry.
murders and ex-convicts.
Hey, Larry Mason.
Oh, hello, Steve.
Hey, Larry. Going downtown, huh?
Yeah, Steve, this is the wife, Carol. Honey, it's Steve Kramer, chief truck dispatcher down at the company for 6 or 7 years.
Oh, Mrs. Mason, Larry hadn't ought to keep you to himself.
Thanks, Mr. Kramer. Larry, I'm going on to the market. See you at supper, honey.
So long, kiddo.
Lucky you, Larry.
Don't I know it. Going downtown, too, Steve? I'm kind of in a hurry.
Counterspy field office, huh?
Yeah, 9 o'clock to identify the guy who killed Vince Dugan.
How about a lift?
Oh, you got your car, Steve?
A friend of mine's got his right over here.
Good.
I happened to spot you, so we stopped.
Good enough.
Hop in, Larry.
Thanks.
This is a friend of mine, Mr. Marengo, Larry Mason.
Hiya.
Good morning. You in, Steve?
Take off. Hey, Larry, I've been telling Mr. Marengo what pals you and Vince Dugan were.
Vince was a great guy.
Yes, it was an unfortunate accident, Larry.
Wasn't an accident, Mr. Marengo. That rotten dog just shot Vince down.
I understand the Counterspy's already picked up the guy who killed Vince from the description you gave him.
Yeah.
Character named Sid Barlow. All they need now is for you to pick the guy out of the lineup.
I'll never forget that killer's face. I'll pick him out all right.
Larry, maybe you won't pick Barlow out.
Why wouldn't I hang it on Barlow if he's the guy?
Tell him, Steve.
Larry, 3 years ago, a con got out of the state jug in Ohio after a stretch for manslaughter. Truck accident.
Yeah.
He comes here to Pittsburgh, changes his name to Larry Mason, and gets a job with our company as a truck driver. Under false pretenses.
How did you know?
Also, Larry, last year you married a very lovely girl.
I'll say.
But, of course, you didn't tell Carol about your prison term, did you?
Now, listen.
What Carol doesn't know won't hurt her, eh, Larry?
Carol doesn't have to know. Does she, Steve?
Oh, Mr. Marengo, nobody has to know. That's up to Larry.
So that's the setup.
Steve, it's 8:45. We'll drive Larry down to the Counterspy field office. Mr. Harding will be waiting for him.
Mr. Harding, here's Larry Mason.
Mr. Harding?
Good morning, Larry. Sit down here with Peters and me.
Yes, sir.
This is our lineup room, Larry. In a few seconds, several men will come out on that platform up there behind glass. Sid Barlow among them. I want you to pick out the killer.
Yes, sir.
The lights are so arranged that we can see the men, but they can't see us.
And they can't hear us either. Conway.
Yes, Mr. Harding?
We're ready, Conway. You can send them out.
Yes, sir. Okay, boys, you're wanted on stage.
There they are, Larry. Well?
The second man from the left, he looks something like him.
Take your time.
Well, I'm not positive now. You know, I only saw the killer from the side.
Just a minute. Conway, second man from the left, turn to the right.
Second man from the left, turn to the right.
He seems taller.
You see the man you described to us the other day?
Well, I'm not so sure now. You know, it was dark that night.
Larry, Vince Dugan was your closest friend. You have a deep personal interest in bringing his murderer to trial.
Sure I have.
But there's even more to this case. Recently, a number of trucks carrying nitroglycerine, a powerful explosive, have been hijacked.
Yes, that's what we were carrying the other night.
Well, Larry, we suspect that some big international racketeer is shipping these stolen explosives to a dangerous anti-American group in the Far East. It can make all kinds of international trouble.
Yes, sir. I see.
Now, if you can point out the killer, you'll be helping us smash a dangerous international racket. Now, can you identify one of those men as the murderer of Vince Dugan?
Mr. Harding, he's not there. Not the one who killed Vince Dugan.
Mason, your original description of the murderer was an amazingly exact one and detailed. You were eager to see him punished. I'd like to know what's changed your mind. All right, Mason. You can go.
Yeah, Larry, this is Steve. I left a message for you to call me. Listen, I made a date for you with Mr. Marengo, and you better come. 8 o'clock tonight in this penthouse apartment. I'll pick you up.
Larry, I want to thank you for not identifying Barlow yesterday at the Counterspy field office.
Keep your thanks, Marengo.
Larry, that's no way to act, Mr. Marengo.
Well, there's nothing to talk about, Steve. You two got what you wanted, and that was the deal.
Yes, Larry, that was that deal. Now I have a new deal for you.
Chance to make some real dough, Larry. Not the measly dough you get for pushing a truck around for our company.
I'm satisfied.
Nothing so stubborn as a reformed convict, eh, Steve?
Larry, I am scheduling you to take a load of explosives for the company tomorrow night to another arsenal at Bay City, alone. That powder don't get to Bay City.
You see, Larry, some of my men will be waiting to meet your truck on the highway.
Mr. Marengo has it all set up, Larry. All you do is take one on the chin to make the hijack look clean.
Nothing doing. It's no deal, Marengo. I paid you off. I did what you wanted, and I'm through.
Larry, what about David Harding?
Harding? What do you mean?
Larry, you did a very bad thing when you, took the finger off Sid Barlow. You, an ex-con, deliberately deceived Harding. You see, Larry, you have to accept my offer. My men will expect you tomorrow night.
What's the setup, Peters?
Larry Mason's taking a load of explosives to the Bay City Arsenal tonight, Dave, alone.
Oh, it's a perfect situation for Mason to allow himself to be hijacked.
But do we allow it, Dave?
Tell you what, we'll set up observation posts all along Mason's route. Now, besides, you tail him in a car. Take at least 3 more men, armed for a capture if necessary. I'll keep in touch with all of you from the communications room.
Conway reporting from Greenvale. Truck driven by Larry Mason stopped here 11:35 p.m. While he was cleaning his license, I checked his speedometer. Reading 22,314 miles.
Greenvale, 11:35. Driving time checks, mileage checks. Thanks, Conway.
Adams reporting from Pine City, Mr. Harding. Larry Mason's time here, 1:05 a.m. Speedometer reading 22,367.
Time and mileage check. And Adams, Peters and 3 men are tailing Mason's truck in a car, ready for trouble if it comes. Keep an eye out for them.
Peters calling Harding from pursuing car. Something's up.
What is it?
Larry Mason has just turned his truck off the main highway.
What's your location now?
A dirt road, alternate 6A, leading up into the mountains.
It's an even better spot for a planned hijacking than the highway, Peters. Keep following. Keep me informed.
Peters to Harding. Larry Mason finished his run to the Bay City Arsenal without incident.
You mean nothing unusual happened on that long detour he took through the mountains?
Not a thing, Dave.
The driver doesn't take a truckload of high explosive on a dangerous detour just for the thrill. Stick close to him. Let's see what he does next.
Dave. Hey, Dave, wake up.
Oh, Peters, I guess I dozed off in my chair waiting all night for you to call again. Hey, what are you doing back here in Pittsburgh?
I tailed Mason all the way back from Bay City.
Something funny is going on. August 9th, 1949, Counterspy on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The news from 73 years ago today follows these important words.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
For what?
With print, broadcasting, and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We're listening to an episode of Counterspy and the case of the Blackmailed Hijacker as it was originally broadcast on a Tuesday, August 9th, 1949. In the newspapers of that Tuesday 73 years ago, these were some of the headlines. The Senate last night passed a huge $5.8 billion money bill to run the European Recovery Program and pay U.S. occupation costs abroad during the coming year. The vote 63-7 on final passage. Final action came after more than 2 weeks of worrying debate. The bill now goes to a conference with the House, which had voted about 10% more. Senate House conferees are expected to reach a quick passage. A drenching rain throughout Ecuador, devastated areas in Ecuador devastated by Friday's earthquake, made the plight of thousands of homeless and destitute all the more miserable. They sought shelter under every possible object, trees, fallen roofs, improvised tents, together with their chickens and wandering farm animals. The stench everywhere of rotting bodies, unrecoverable from the high-piled ruins, permeating the atmosphere over an area of many miles. The French commander of the Western European Union's land forces said last night in London various conceptions of defense strategy have developed among the Union's military chiefs. The ground forces commander General Jean Leclerc Desjardins denied reports that Field Marshal Lord Montgomery, the British Supreme Commander for the Western European Defense Forces, favored withdrawal across the Channel to England in the event of an attack. Diplomatic officials in the British capital said the 3 U.S. chiefs of staff are returning to Washington with tentative European approval of a plan to set up a four-power high command for Atlantic defense. Informed sources in both Haifa and Tel Aviv indicated peace may be near between Israel and the Arab nations. A Haifa source predicted agreement will be reached within 2 months. The Tel Aviv reports said the U.S. government is urging both sides to come to terms soon at conferences in Lausanne, Switzerland. A Negro physician has been named to the policy-making body of the American Medical Association for the first time since the group's founding 103 years ago. The new member of the AMA House of Delegates is Dr. Peter H. Murray, director of the Department of Gynecology at the Harlem Hospital, New York. He was elected by the New York State Medical Society. Tring Lee, the UN Secretary General, said in Bergen, Norway, that regional cooperation agreements sometimes may be welcomed under the UN Charter, but that the supremacy of the United Nations is absolutely clear. He expressed confidence that 5 years from now there will be a real hope that war will have become obsolete. More than a fourth of the 80,000 Ford workers eligible to vote cast ballots yesterday on whether they approve a second strike this year in Michigan, in the plants of the auto firm. Balloting will continue through today and tomorrow. Remember the fantastic story of the Corsican brothers who both felt pain when one was hurt? Not so fantastic at all, say doctors in Phoenix City, Alabama. They're the amazing 21-month-old identical twin sons of Mr. and Mrs. Richard A. Palmer, examined at Memorial Hospital. Doctors confirmed what the parents had noticed. When one suffered pain, the other felt a similar pain. One test the doctors made was to stick a needle into the hip of one twin while the other was in another room. And they both cried. Well, if the spirit is willing, it doesn't matter if the flesh is weak. Witness Atlanta grandmother Mrs. Clarence Wallace beating the heat of the swimming pool along with her 7 grandchildren. The 54-year-old woman opened her mouth and lost her teeth. As the China Clipper sank beneath the waves, she forgot she couldn't swim. She said, "I just paid $60 for those teeth and I wasn't going to let them get away." She dove in, rescued the teeth, and came up swimming. Oh, another active oldster in today's news is Charles L. Chappell, a 102-year-old Civil War veteran. At his Long Beach, California home, he fell out of a peach tree, which he had climbed to harvest the fruit. Doctors advised him to quit climbing trees. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Tuesday, August 9th, 1949, on your radio Counterspy, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
No trouble. Admittedly, it looked like a hijack setup at first, but nothing happened. He came back, left his truck in the main garage, and went home.
Larry Mason is a very puzzling young man. We'll have to find some way of unpuzzling him.
Sorry I woke you, Carol.
Oh, it's you, Larry. You said you wouldn't be back from Bay City until tomorrow.
Well, we have no phone here. I couldn't call you.
Darling, what are you doing?
Where's my suitcase?
It's in your closet.
I'll get it.
Larry, what's wrong?
Well, I'm just taking my clothes.
Larry, please, what's happened? Larry, you're in trouble.
No, there's no trouble. I'm just fed up with Pittsburgh.
That's not true. You're running out on me, aren't you? Oh, Larry.
Carol, no. Honest, honey, I wasn't running. Listen, Carol, I'm in a jam. See, I have to get out of Pittsburgh now, tonight.
I don't care what it is, darling. If you'll just tell me.
Well, there's no time to tell you. Will you come with me?
Larry, you know I will.
Of all times not to have a phone. Look, I'll go down to the Crescent Airport and get tickets now, fast.
All right.
You pack, grab a taxi, and meet me at the airport as soon as you can.
Yes.
And don't worry, honey. Everything's going to be fine. Just fine.
Taxi! Taxi! Crescent Airport driver, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, will you help me with some suitcases that they're on the porch?
Mason, going someplace?
What? Why, yes. Who are you?
Get in the cab.
Just a minute, I
told you to get in.
Driver, this man, stop him!
Okay, pal, let's go. All right.
Let me out of here, do you hear me?
Not yet, Mrs. Mason.
Where are you taking me? What do you want?
I want you to give a message to your husband.
Larry?
A special kind of message, Mrs. Mason. The kind your husband will understand.
What are you talking about?
Mrs. Mason, the next time your husband is told to do something, it's got to be done right.
But
No side roads, no stand-ups. The next time he delivers, or something fatal will happen to you, to him too. That's the message. Now, Mrs. Mason, just make sure he gets the message straight.
No, push me out, please! Oh!
Back to Counterspy in a moment. But first,
some very important messages. August 9th, 1949, 73 years ago today, Counterspy. The conclusion next on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. On Wednesday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, CBS's answer to Dragnet. The lineup. An episode from 72 years ago, August 10th, 1950, a suspect dies of poisoning. A man dies of poisoning right after an appearance in a lineup, and the clues lead to a doctor's office. We'll see what's going on in that doctor's office coming up on tomorrow's Classic Radio Theater, but right now the conclusion of Counterspy. Don-Maclaughlin, mandel-Kramer, 73 years ago, August 9th, 1949, in the case of the Blackmailed Hijacker.
7 Continental Airlines, Pittsburgh to St. Louis, now loading at Gate 4.
Hello, Larry.
Oh, Mr. Peters.
Mr. Harding's in that car over there. He wants to talk with you.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm in a hurry.
Larry, Mr. Harding said he wanted to talk to you.
Well, okay.
All right, get in.
Hello, Larry. I'm afraid you're not leaving town, Larry.
What?
I saw you buy 2 plane tickets 10 minutes ago.
So you saw me buy tickets. Is that a crime?
Larry, you're a material witness in a murder case. I could have you held in custody for this.
Yes, I guess you could.
But I'm not going to. Instead, we're going back to your home. When we get there, you and your wife and I...
My wife? She's got nothing to do with all this.
Larry, a few hours ago, we received certain files. They explain some of your recent actions. Now I want you to be completely honest with me.
I was, right along.
Larry, we not only want to clean up this hijack case and Vince Dugan's murderer, but we also want to help you and Mrs. Mason.
I tell you, she doesn't know anything about this.
Emergency flash, Mr. Harding. Peters, car C8, go ahead.
Conway, where are you now, Peters?
Right outside Crescent Airport with Mr. Harding.
Good. On that hijacking case, we just got a flash from City Hospital. A woman identified as Mrs. Larry Mason.
Carol.
Just brought into the emergency ward. She was beaten and thrown from a moving car. She said her husband was at the airport. I knew you'd gone out there.
What's Mrs. Mason's condition, Conway?
Very serious. She's been given sedatives. Can you locate Larry Mason there?
He's right with us. We'll head for the hospital. Step on it, Peters. Use your siren.
Right.
Larry, now will you cooperate with us?
Oh, the dirty, rotten skunks.
All along you've been trying to protect your wife, haven't you?
That's right.
She didn't know about your record, did she?
You know now I was a con. No, I never told Carol, and I was sure a jerk not to. Okay, Mr. Harding, how do you want me to help?
After we see your wife, I think you can start working back in that garage.
Larry, I want to talk to you.
Yes, Steve?
Some stunts you pulled taking a detour last night and ducking the hijack setup.
I thought it was a good stunt.
We're giving you one more chance. For your sake, don't disappoint Mr. Marengo again.
What's the deal?
I'm scheduling you to take a nitro load to the Western Arsenal tonight.
What road?
Route 63 through the Elder Valley. Mr. Marengo's boys will be waiting for you in the valley. By the way, Larry, I'm sorry about what happened to that pretty missus of yours.
Someday I'm going to flatten your face for that, so help me.
Oh, it wasn't my doing. It was Marengo's idea.
Well, after this deal, Steve, we're through.
Yeah, sure, Larry. Tonight you meet the boys in the Elder Valley, and then we're through. There's the lights on Mason's truck, Mr. Marengo. Stop down there in the valley. The boys signaled it?
Yes, Steve.
See, I told you Larry Mason would show this time.
Lucky for you. My business is too rich to take chances.
Chances?
I've decided the truck will not be hijacked.
Not after I set everything up and all your boys down there got to do is go to work?
You don't understand. It'll only appear that the truck wasn't hijacked.
I don't get you, Mr. Marengo.
Right now, Sid Barlow and the rest of my men are removing most of the powder from that truck, as I originally planned. What they leave will be used to destroy the truck and Larry Mason.
Kill Larry Mason? Hey, it'll look like an accident, huh?
We won't have to worry anymore about trusting him or not. Both he and the truck will be blown to bits.
Mr. Marengo, this is something I gotta see.
Oh, you'll see it, Steve. You and I both will. Ah. Flashing the signal to me from up here. Everything's ready.
Now, huh?
Yes, Steve. In a moment.
We shouldn't go near that exploded truck, Mr. Marengo. Suppose other cars come along.
Then we just act like horrified witnesses. Here's the road.
And here's what's left of the truck.
Careful.
Huh?
Not all of the explosives may have gone up at once. See, there's still some flames.
Some flames there, but not much truck.
A very powerful explosive. Is it not, Steve?
I'll say. Hey, are your boys supposed to be close by with the other cans of explosive?
Yes. Yes, but Barlow should be at this spot to report to me.
Why isn't he here? Hey, take another look at the wreckage.
Huh? What's the matter?
Here's where the driver's cab was. Only where's Larry? Where's his body?
Peculiar, Steve. Very peculiar.
First your boys, no sign of them. Then no sign of Larry.
Don't understand it.
You sure nothing could have gone wrong?
My orders were clear. Hijack the truck, remove most of the explosive, blow up the truck and Larry Mason with the rest.
Yeah, but if Larry's dead, where is he?
Steve, I'm over here.
Marengo. Did you hear that? This is Larry.
What? Impossible.
I know his voice. He's alive. Over behind those trees.
Get your gun out.
I got it.
Try to get him to show himself. When he does, shoot.
Leave it to me.
Larry?
What do you want, Marengo?
We want to talk to you. Come out.
I'm hurt. I can't move. You got to come over here.
Come on. Where are you exactly, Larry?
You'll find out, but not to Steve putting away his gun.
Not a chance.
Now, Steve, do it. We can get it out again quickly when we get closer. Now, come on.
Stop where you are.
Why, what's the matter, Larry?
I've got a gun, too. Stay where you are, right in that patch of moonlight where I can see you plainly. Now, first, we're going to get a couple of things straight.
What's he trying to do? Quiet.
What is it, Larry?
You got to remember, I know that Sid Barlow murdered Vince Dugan.
Yes, but what of it?
And I know you and Steve got sore because I was spoiling your hijack racket. You tried to kill me tonight by blowing up my truck.
That was all a mistake, Larry. From now on, we'll be good friends and trust each other.
Okay, Marengo, Steve, hands in the air.
What?
Counterspy, Marengo, you're surrounded.
Counterspy.
It's a trick. Wait. All right, get their guns, Peter. Right. I'll handle Marengo.
No, my face. All right, see, my hands are down.
All right, Larry, leave him alone.
There he is, Mr. Harding, a nice murdering quitter.
You've done a good job all around, Larry, but you can leave him to us.
He squealed. He trapped us.
Marengo, Steve, your whole plan went wrong. After we took your triggerman Barlow and the rest of your mob, we set off that explosion.
You? What?
Exactly as you had planned, except that Larry left the truck first. From the things you admitted to him a moment ago, we've got enough to send you and all your gang away for the rest of your lives.
Tonight's Counterspy program originated in New York and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel-Kramer with music by Rosa Rio. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production for Pepsi-Cola.
By the way, I mentioned earlier when we were talking about this show that this show was aired on NBC at this time. Actually, no, this was still being aired on ABC twice a week, sponsored by Pepsi-Cola. From August 9th, 1949, 73 years ago, Counterspy on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Would you please thank this radio station and support their advertisers? It is their kindness and courtesy that allow the radio train to keep rolling through here with great classic radio theater programs each and every Tuesday at this time. And could you do me another favor? If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a show. You can find our shows available on demand at classicradio.stream. That's my webpage, classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows. You can learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me there. You can find our social media links. You can find a page that lists all of the places that our podcasts are available. And if you like the show and you're so inclined, you can buy me a coffee. Yeah, I know, I don't drink coffee. But one of the great things about the Buy Me a Coffee is that all that money gets set aside in a specific fund for us to acquire new programs. And it's hard to find programs that we don't already have. There are a number of rare and missing programs that we know we can find through some of our contacts. So that's at classicradio.stream if you use the Buy Me a Coffee link. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.